Throwing back to Leah. Yep. Welcome back, you guys, to another episode of Real Chill Conversations. Tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about health and what happens when something is going on with your health and that starts to change who you are, how you see yourself as a person, things like that. We do have a special guest in the building. Her name is Michelle Vote. She's going to join us and she's going to share a little bit about her story. And we're going to have a real chill conversation about it. I'm going to start just by asking, and I guess we all know the answers to these questions ourselves, but just so that the audience knows, has anyone gone through anything traumatically with regards to their health that has an impact on how they see themselves as a person? Who wants to go first?
Yes.
You, Dominique?
Yes.
Okay, we'll start with you. Go on ahead.
Um, yes, I went through a situation, and I have been pretty healthy for most of my life. It's like most of my life, I never had anything wrong with me. I've always been pretty healthy, and I started dealing with anemia. So that can really take a that re- it really took a toll on me, because I've never had to deal with any sickness. So it definitely kind of changed my perspective about a lot of things in life. And I think the topic that you had for today is a good topic, because I can attest to it, that it can change your mood. I'm not saying it's going to change the person that I am. It didn't change the person that I was, but it definitely like it messed with me mentally more
Okay.
than anything, because I was so worried about, if I did this, how would my body react? If I did that, how my body would react. So I never could really enjoy myself as how I used to, based on my sickness and how it made me feel. So I really do believe this topic is one of those that people really don't speak on, especially if they're sick. Sometimes they're afraid to come out and talk about it, because that sometimes they feel like other people won't understand them, or um, some people be like, "Okay, you all right? Come on," like. And you know what? You love
Else,
to think
right?
that. You love to think that you're all right. You love to think that that is the case. But in that moment, you're going through something. So
Right.
you're still trying to process your sickness, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and again, even with who you are now at that moment.
Okay. So that is a perfect segue into Michelle and opening up the floor to Michelle. And Michelle, tell us a bit about your story, what you're comfortable sharing, your backstory, and kind of where you were, where you are, and what you have lying in front of you.
Well, it started back in 2017. I was having symptoms, severe pressure on the back of my head. I was hearing things in my ear, headaches, balance issues. Fast forward a month later, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor. That it was pressing against my brain stem, wrapped around my cerebral artery on the left side, and affected four cranial nerves. Immediately after the surgery, I knew something was wrong.
Right.
My doctors ignored my pleas. Um, I this diagnosis though shook me to my core. It made me reprioritize what was important to me. It made me mourn the person that I was.
Yeah.
I um would look back, um like, now I'm 54. I would look back at my 20s and 30s and look back and think how silly. I was worried about my weight. Now I'm worried about
Yes.
if I can even function and get out of bed and talk and breathe and not, just do daily chores and like the things that were important to me that are no longer. And I had to mourn that old version of me.
Yeah.
And that's an important part of chronic illness, is more you're mourning someone who's still alive, but
Right.
they've died. You
Yeah.
have to adjust to a new normal. And what my original team, they failed me so egregiously. They refused to diagnose me with a very rare condition called trigeminal neuralgia anesthesia dolorosa, which means that I cannot feel the entire left side of my face,
Wow.
and I'm
Oh my God.
always in pain. It's getting progressively worse. The most recent neurosurgeon I saw, he put me through a 2-hour MRI. They were able to pinpoint exactly on the cranial nerves where the damage was done.
Mm-hmm.
So my next plan of attack is a brain surgery called deep brain stimulation, but
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately that's not covered by insurance.
Ugh.
I can't fight insurance. It's not FDA approved for my condition, so there's no fighting involved. I have to do like a GoFundMe situation. But getting back to the like where we are, you lose yourself. You
Yeah.
have to adjust to your new normal, and that's very, very difficult. And a lot of the time when you have chronic illness and you're working, you don't want to talk about it. You don't want your employer to find out about it possibly, or you don't want to be that friend or that sister, that cousin that, where everyone, when you walk in the room, everyone's like, oh,
Right.
we feel so bad for her. You could see the face, like their faces just drop, like
Yeah.
they, and you don't want to be that Debbie Downer, but they know the severity of your situation. So there's a lot of components to chronic illnesses, very life altering diagnoses, and to top it off with the depression, and then with family, friends, and how to maintain all of that when some days you actually just physically cannot even get out of bed.
True. I'm so glad that you brought that up and you mentioned that. And, looking back and as you're describing and you're talking about your journey and your diagnosis, I'm flashing back. And when I'm flashing back to a time when we were in Vegas, right? We took a trip to Vegas, a girls' trip to Vegas to have a ball, to have an immediate, an amazingly wonderful time. It's like we get back from Vegas and then it was radio silence from Michelle, and I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was wrong. And then I found out, that you had gotten your diagnosis, and I was like, oh my goodness. Like we were just in Vegas. We were
Right.
just in Vegas having a good time. Like, how does this happen? How does this happen? And, in my sense, in my illness, where my doctors so egregiously dismissed my declaration of symptoms and the different things that were going on with me. And I kept telling them something is wrong and something is wrong and something is wrong until finally I'm in a coma on life support and in ICU. It's like, how did I get here? And how do I get my way back? And it was a fight and it was a struggle because the things that I could take for granted, picking up a spoon or a fork to feed myself, picking up a pen and paper to write, to be able to type on my laptop, to be able to walk myself to the restroom, to be able to dress myself and do my own hair. Those are all things that I had to relearn how to do in order to be sitting here today. So I was grieving that person. I was grieving that I lost that ability. And I was told, well, honey, you're going to get it back. It's going to come back. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm going to come back and I'm not going to be the same. You don't ever come back from something like that unchanged. There's something within you that changes. And for me, um, the change that was made was for me to develop a really strong connection and having faith and understanding that through that, having faith that I would be able to get through this. And I may not be the person that I was before this happened, but perhaps I'll be a new and better version of myself. And my situation, my story, my scenario can perhaps help others continue to advocate for themselves if they feel like something is wrong with them health wise and they're just not feeling well. And I'm glad that you're here today as well to talk about some of the difficulties that you face with wanting to continue to advocate for yourself to help get treatment and to improve your symptoms and to get better.
Yes, it it really just boiled down to realizing who was listening to me and who wasn't, and finding the right team. And it took a long time to find the right team, to find doctors that would listen to me, that didn't look at me like a number. Especially neurosurgeons and neurologists tend to be on the dry side and tend to be
Right.
very textbook. You don't get a lot of emotion. So when I found specific doctors that really took an interest in my case, I'm actually a case study now. Um, but when I found this team, when you've met your team and they hear you, and but in addition to finding your team that you trust, you trust, but still have a little bit of medical PTSD, I call it. So
Yep.
I'm 90% in, but 10% hold
Yep.
back because I
Yep.
just never know. But I'm still constantly researching. And I just want to share with you and whomever is watching that my purpose in life before all this happened was, job, um, savings, maybe nice clothing, car, house. That's all changed. I could give that all away today. My
Yep.
only purpose in life right now is how can I serve people? How can I serve the community? How can I be of service to the people who are suffering with the same condition I have?
Yep.
How can I give back, and how can I advocate for them? Um, so it's really altered what is important to me. Of course, I still love fashion and I love all those things, but if those were to go away tomorrow, I that wouldn't bother me at all. I would still be on a journey to um to just my to bring joy and happiness and leave this earth a better place than when I found it. And I think that a lot of people, when they go through life altering events, um, come have something similar come over them, where they reprioritize what drives them and what gives them passion and purpose. Because even though I'm not working and I cannot work, my passion, I still need passion. I still need a purpose. And that is now my purpose, is to
Michelle,
help.
I want to ask you this question. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Did this make you see life differently, basically?
absolutely.
Like with everything, all the me too. I felt that way as well. When I went through my little situation. I don't feel like um certain sicknesses are worse than other sicknesses. I get that. But there was a point in my life where I thought I was gonna pass. Like I didn't think I was probably gonna make it. And I think it's because I let it go on for so long without getting myself checked and see what was wrong with me. I really thought I was just tired. So I was like, I'm just tired. I remember me telling Brenda, I'm just trying, I'm just tired.
Yeah.
I need to sleep. Maybe I need a couple of days of sleep. And even when I took those couple of days, it was just, I was still feeling the same. So it
Yeah.
definitely make you change your perspective on life and what's more important to you.
And I just wanted to share that if you feel you know your body, if you go to the doctor, thank God when I went to the first ENT and I explained my symptoms, he said, just to cover all of our bases, I don't really think it is, but let's just do an MRI just to rule out a brain tumor. Thank God he did that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
that was
I,
good.
I so my what you have when you know your body and you know your symptoms, if
Hmm.
you go into a doctor's office and you're not comfortable with what that doctor said to you or your doctor didn't order tests, go in there, say I'm not comfortable leaving here without having like a script for blood work, for this, for that. Can we please rule this out? This is not me. This is not normal. You have to advocate for yourself, and if that's not that doctor doesn't do that, that doctor isn't living up to the Hippocratic oath that they took.
Right. And first
And
do
Yes.
no harm. First do
yes,
no
so you
harm.
must go and find another doctor that will treat you and listen to you and hear you and provide you with everything you need to rule out certain things so you can be at peace with yourself.
That's excellent, excellent, excellent
Excellent.
advice.
Thank you.
One of the
What would you tell people who feel lost right now because of their health? Because I have a lot of people around me, and I've been talking to Brenda about this for the past couple of episodes. Like, there's a lot of people around me that do suffer in some type of sickness, and we always want to encourage people and motivate them and keep them, try to be a vessel for them through these tough times. 'Cause I know how it feels, but like, is there anything? I mean, what would you tell them? Like, based on what you're going through right now and everything that you're enduring.
I would advise, if I could give advice to anyone, is online could be a cesspool, but online social media can also be a great space to find communities with people who have the same conditions, who
Mhm.
are battling the same illnesses, diseases, whatnot.
Yeah.
And you can join those groups. So you can find those people. They can understand you. You can understand them.
Yeah.
Obviously, there excuse me, there are different levels of what disease or what condition, but it's not a who's outdoing who with what illness or condition.
Yeah.
If you have something and you're struggling, that's takes a toll on your body. So find
Yes.
somebody, find a community, find an online support group. Go if you go to church, talk with your pastor. Excuse me, ladies. This is the most talking I've done all day.
I'm sorry.
Um, but there I go by the handle disease rare disease warrior on Instagram. And I have so many followers that I that follow me, and then they start to engage with each other.
Yep.
And I also post online when I find new drugs or maybe some new treatment
Yes.
but I always put a disclaimer, I'm not a doctor. Talk to
Yep.
your doctor about this.
Yep.
So sorry, ladies. But I would advise that to go online, find your community. They're there. They're, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, your church. Um, but you
That's
have
a very good
to talk
idea,
about it.
right? Because me explaining my anemia to someone that never had anemia, they were like, "Mm,
Like, what do you say? Yeah.
okay, okay." But, I did actually do that myself. I went online and found a groups of other people that was going through the same situation. I was able to get a lot of relief from that because um I mean, I got different tips and different things that I could do. And, because I was new to it, I didn't know anything about it. So just talking to other people, you too, Brenna, you helped me a
Yep.
lot. It kind of like I was
Yeah.
more calm. It made me more calm because I was like, okay, so I already know why I'm feeling this way and why I'm feeling this way. Now I could pinpoint of why I was feeling certain things in my body. So I was calmer, and that did kind of relieve a lot of stress off of me, even though I was still battling the sickness.
Yeah, the sense of community is very important. I did share in one of the text messages that I sent to you, Dominique, I did share the Rare Disease Warrior Instagram page so that you'd have an
Yes.
opportunity to have that so you could see it. And I think, Michelle, what you've done is just, tremendous. Dominique, I call Michelle my warrior princess because, like I said, we were literally like living it up in Vegas, going to a J-Lo concert, drinking, having a good time, going out to
Having
eat, and
fun.
then having a ball. And then all of a sudden, boom, Michelle was radio silent. And it was like, hey, what's going on with Michelle? What's wrong with
Yeah.
Michelle? How's Michelle? What's happening with Michelle? And then the news came out and it was just devastating because it's like, I was just with her. What do you mean? She was fine. What do you mean? So, Michelle, with that in mind and knowing that you went from a moment of, okay, I'm having a great time, I'm enjoying myself, to not feeling good, tremendous pain, going to the doctor. Next thing I know, it might not have been immediate, but very quickly as things started to progress and you knew that you needed immediate medical attention, and find that, there's a brain tumor. How do you process that? How do you process that in a
Yes.
way that allows you to stay hopeful and allows you to stay with a bit of joy still in your heart, knowing that you're going through one of the scariest things that anyone on this earth could ever go through in their life?
I I divine intervention, God planting seeds where I need them.
Absolutely.
I have been in dark holes. I've been bedbound for months on end with little joy, no
Yeah.
hope. But then there's that little seed
Yeah.
that I'm like, all right, Michelle, you can do this. You can get through this. You've been down this road before. Things might be changing, but you can push through. And I actually have a second brain tumor um, on my right parietal lobe. So that's also, uh, I guess I have no idea why I keep getting brain tumors, but I have another one. But
Mm,
I don't,
Sorry.
it's so, it's so individualized. I don't know how, I only know how I get through. And
right.
sometimes getting through means not getting through. It means leaving the same clothes on for 3 weeks. And
Yes.
you know what? If you
Yep.
are sick and you can't do that, and that's the best you can do,
That's the best you can do.
that's the best you can do, and you're still waking up in the morning and you are still waiting and praying and hoping and just with all of your might, just praying, just something. And
Yes.
maybe on that third week, you're like, I'm going to I have the strength to get up today. I can actually get out of bed today. And I might not be able to leave the house, but I can get up
Yep.
and I can make myself something to eat.
Yep.
So, whatever, I think this is, you can also relate to this where um you feel like you need to, you don't have the energy, you're sick, that you're compromised, all these things, and the last thing you want to do is get out of bed, and yet you feel like almost in a way I feel, at least for me, without having kids or and a husband, I feel like even though I know I have all these horrific conditions, I guilt myself into feeling like I am a worthless human being because I'm not getting up and being productive. And I have to remind myself, Michelle, you're lucky to still be alive. Why are
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes. You
so
have to take it day by day. You have to take it day by day. If it's minute by minute, if it's hour by hour, then that's what you need to do. I mean, when we spoke yesterday and you're like, oh, I'm at dinner with Gina, I was like, doing a song and a dance. I was so excited. I'm like, she's out of the house. She's dressed. I was like, look at her outfit. She looks so good. Like she's, you would never know that you were going through what you were going through. And that's another reason why I wanted you to come on and I wanted you to join us today is because, we spend so much time, and we've done this in previous podcast episodes, we spend so much time judging people. We don't do it ourselves. Dominique and I don't do it, but people as a whole, okay? And social media and people that are on social media as a whole spend so much time judging people by how they look and their appearance and how they're dressed and what they're doing. And, to look at you, you would never in a million years think that you have gone through the experiences that you have gone through. To look at me, you would never think in a million years that if you were to rewind and if I was to go through and scroll through pictures of my phone, you would see pictures of me looking 10 times the size that I am, tubes in every single part of my body, the machines, you hear them breathing and beeping and all that for me, and all of that. Dominique, when you were going through your thing, you were like not able to move. This girl could not move from her bed to her bathroom, could not move. So you see that, and then you hear the testimony, and I think it's encouraging. And I think it's something that people need to understand that just because you are going through something and you're faced with a challenge, especially with your health, and you're coming across different roadblocks and you don't feel like it and you don't feel good and you don't feel like getting up, you don't feel like getting out and doing, it doesn't have to define the person, that you are. Yes, I am this person. Yes, I have this condition or this situation. I am going through something, but I'm still alive and I'm still living. And while I'm doing it, damn it, I'm going to go out to eat when I can muster up the strength to do so. I'm going to enjoy a good meal. I'm not going to let these fabulous clothes go to waste. Show, I'm going to go ahead and put my best outfit on and get dressed. And
That's what I said.
I'm going to try to make and I'm going to try to make the best of it. I'm going to
That's
try to make the best of it. And
Mhm.
allow myself to be used as an example. And I have no problem sharing my story. I'm happy that you were willing to share your story and talk a bit about what's going on with you. I would love for you to keep us posted. If there's anything that we can do within the platform, help promote
Absolutely.
your GoFundMe when you get that together for your surgeries that you have coming up or anything else that you have going on. If we can be of assistance and to help push that to get you help that you need, we're more than happy to do it. I'm speaking for you, Dominique, as well. I'm sorry, but I know that both of us, um, with
yeah,
regards to the podcast, would be more than happy to do that for you.
absolutely. Yes.
Thank you.
And I just want to say, like, I'm talking to everybody now. Um, if your health is changing who you are, it's okay. Like you stated, Michelle, from the beginning of the podcast, it's okay to grieve it. It's okay. Um, and don't rush it, because sometimes we'll be like, okay, yeah, let's move past on to the next thing, I think when you process it, it works a lot better than just trying to like act like nothing is wrong and, go for it. So I think, by processing it, and keep it in mind when our body changes, our life do change too. And that can feel like a loss it's in itself. So don't rush it, just process it. I'm all up for motivation. I'm all up for meditation. I don't know how big anyone is, about that. I'm big on prayer. Um, I believe in God. I do pray as well,
Yeah.
and meditation has helped me so much as well. And like I say all the time, people sometimes discount that, but sometimes you need that because you needed to go in your subconscious mind.
Mhm.
That's where you need it to go. Even if you're not paying attention, even if you're just meditating with, I do binaural beats. I love them. I turn it on, I go to sleep. In the morning, I feel much better.
Yep.
So much better. So I don't know who it can help, but I'm just putting it out there. You may want to try that as well. My advice is don't get stuck there.
Yep.
Don't get stuck um in sadness. I wouldn't advise you to do that because that only makes it worse for you to try to get better. So if you're stuck in sadness, and like I said, it's okay to, you're gonna be sad sometimes. You're not gonna want to do anything, but don't get stuck there.
Yep.
Process it, come back to life for me, because really that is what's gonna help your body get better, and or on the road of getting better and
Yep.
recovering from
Yep.
whatever it is that you're going through. And think about the good side of things. You're still alive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Michelle, do you have any closing words, parting words of wisdom you'd like to share with us today? And thank you again so much for joining us.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you so much for having me on. And my parting words are, I saw this somewhere, so I wrote it on a post-it note. That's why I was bending backwards right there. And I am reminded all the time I can't escape my body. So I always have pain. So
Right.
it's just the level of pain that I deal with. So I can tell myself I have brain tumors or I have trigeminal neuralgia, anesthesia dolorosa. But I also can tell myself that I have Jesus.
There you
Yes.
I
go.
keep this on a
In the
post-it
name of
note.
Jesus.
I
I
keep it
love
on a
that.
post-it note and it's in my room. And so I remind myself that I have all those other things too. But most importantly is this.
Yes.
And
And
this
I
post-it,
would put it on my mirror.
it gets me through a lot.
Yep.
So um yes, that's what I would love. And then I would, if anybody, even if they don't have any of the conditions I have, if they want to reach out to me on Rare Disease Warrior, feel free. If I can be of assistance in any way, I would be more than happy to.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much. We appreciate
Absolutely.
you. I wish you the best. I know that you're going to keep me updated because we're going to continue to stay in touch. So we'll know what next steps are in the process. You have been instrumental to me in helping me fight my battles and advocate for myself. When one doctor says no, or when one doctor doesn't listen, to move on to another doctor to know what questions to ask. And I
And
found
they're
that.
not all right.
And when I found that too, a lot of times when you present doctors with certain questions that they don't expect you to ask because you're just little old patient that didn't go to medical school, but you're an intelligent person that knows how to research and knows how to ask the fundamental things in order to get answers, they're taken aback and they take a step back when when you ask them that question that they weren't expecting because they didn't think that you were intelligent enough to ask. And
Mhm.
that kind of stops them in their tracks for a second. And then they say, wait a minute. let me take a second look. Or, you know what? Let me go ahead and order that lab test. Let me go ahead and order that MRI. Let's go ahead and draw, a marker for INA and see if you have higher levels of inflammation floating around in your body. Could this be the cause of some of your issues? You've been able to do things like that. So even if you're not suffering from the same symptoms and disease and illness and the brain tumor that Michelle is suffering from, she's a great resource of information with being able to fight the battles with the doctors and how to navigate the path to discussions, to effective discussions with doctors that are helping her get her to a point where she's moving the ball forward and getting closer, hopefully, to being able to get some relief. So I will end on that note. Again, Michelle, thank you so very much. And everyone,
And
please don't
Michelle, were
let,
you able to let everybody know where they could find you?
oh, yes, yes, you need to do that. Sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, you can find me on Instagram at Rare Disease Warrior.
Okay.
There we go. Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you both so much.
Thank you, Michelle. I'll be talking with you soon and checking in on you, okay?
Sounds good, Brenna.
All right. Bye,
Thank
Michelle. Bye,
you.
Dominique. Have a
Bye
good night,
bye.
everybody. Bye.
Bye.